Here is the Dymo waiting to print. I'm going to start the software in just a second. I'm going to put just a blank CD on there. And all I'm doing is I'm reusing some old media that's no good anymore. So I just put a label on it. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the printer. And I'm going to make sure that it spins, make sure that it's not bound. All right. And then I'm going to start the printing process. Now I'm going to print high quality on this one, so it's going to take a while to print, probably about 2 minutes or so. I am using a Lexmark #1 printer cartridge, and again, this is the refurbished Dymo, and when I'm done with it, I'll pick the printer up and turn it over so that you can see the serial number, because this is the printer that you're actually buying. I want you to see that it actually does work. This is very important for refurbished equipment that I do. I make sure that I put a video out on YouTube that shows whatever I have refurbished in working order. Typically what I do is I run several tests on the printer in between. This is not the only test that's being done on the printer. When I take these printers in, I buy them on eBay and other places. They are all in pretty poor condition. Almost all of them, well, all of them now have belts that are either broken or are misshapen because the printer hasn't been used for years. So when I say misshapen, there will be a divot in the existing belt, and so even if it did turn the platter, it would turn it inconsistently, which would result in a poor print. So I source replacement belts. I take the unit apart, and almost all of these units, when they are shipped to me, have been shipped with an ink cartridge in the printer. Never ever ship these with an ink cartridge, because what happens is during shipping the ink leaks, and that means I have to take the printer completely apart and even take the motherboard out of it and rinse everything off, because it will be caked in paint or in ink. And the bad thing about that is you don't know how conductive it may be, and so anything that's on the board needs to be cleaned off, and that's a lot of work to do. And if you ship your printer with an ink cartridge in, your printer just may be unusable at that point. So when I ship these out, I always provide it's a spent cartridge that I've washed out, cleaned out, and I use for package material. And I want you to use that whenever you ship the printer. So when you get this printer, you'll have some packing material, and it has a little label that says don't throw it away. Keep that for shipping your printer. These printers are very rugged. I've actually dropped the one that I use all the time by accident. That's one I don't sell since I did drop it, but it doesn't have any problem at all printing. I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. These are pretty rugged little units. I also clean out the overspray tray. That's the part that holds the ink when it goes to clean the cartridge. It wipes off the cartridge print head, and then it sprays some ink out, and there's a little receiver in there for that, and that gets filled with ink, so I wash that out. And I also go ahead and lubricate the guides so that there isn't anything that would be binding up the carriage or affect the printing. Now, as I said, this is the highest quality, so it takes a while to print. And if you're going to spend your money on glossy media, I'd recommend doing using the best setting on that, and it looks absolutely beautiful. It looks just like a picture. Always buy spare print decals like this to put on your spent media, so that when you do run your tests, you're not wasting media. And I use a Nito decal applier for that. All right, so it's almost done. We're going to have a look at that, and we're going to turn the printer upside down so that you can see that it's actually the printer that you're going to be buying. I do guarantee these to be not dead on arrival. So if you get the printer, you take it out and it stops or it doesn't print, you just send it back to me and I will repair it free of charge. All right, so that has completed printing. And one thing you do need to be aware of is the disc will be wet, especially if it's glossy. So hold it by the edges like that. But you can see that looks pretty good, yeah? Kind of hold it up in the light, and you can see that it looks pretty good, right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the printer over so that you can see that this printer is the one that you will be purchasing. So I always update the firmware. Here is the serial number. It ends in 7026. And I always put a refurb label and the date that I refurbished it. And that concludes this video for this particular refurbished printer.